is Spilled Milk Sundays, where parenting gets real, and this is our last episode of the season. I'm so sad. So sad. It's been a fantastic season with amazing mamas and one dude. That's what the title should be. Amazing mamas and one dude. And I am home here in NYC. It is humid. My hair is crazy. And I'm sure you all are experiencing crazy weather conditions in your own states or countries, because you know we're international. And so we are ready to get started. We are waiting for our special mama. Her name is Sara Boykan. And yes, she has been on our show before, but I brought her back on because she's that amazing. So we're going to wait for her to tune in, to invite her in, per our live protocol. And in the meantime, I am going to share our live Facebook. So make sure you grab your cup of coffee. It's hot. Your mimosa, your juice, your milk, because it is Spilled Milk Sundays, and you join us for this great episode, because guess what we're doing? We are recapping the royal wedding, and it was fabulous, and I loved it. I was so romantic. Okay, I'm not going to get into it now, but let me do that really quick. I'm going to share the live Facebook. I'm going to open the screen up. I can't talk. And you guys can, oh, there she is right now. Let me invite her in. Let me share. You hear this? Waiting for Sara.
Hello.
There you are.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's 7 a.m. here. I should have grabbed better lighting.
Aw, that's okay.
That's okay.
We're both, I actually just had my son standing behind my camera just now, and if everybody could see the flick of shadow, that was him dancing, trying to like mess me up.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Good morning, Jeff, who's joining us as well, my friend in Arizona, who's in my Scrabble club.
So you are on the way, and you're up nice and
I
early.
am.
It's what?
I am.
It's like
it is
7 a.m. there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you look fantastic.
Thank you.
You
The
look
baby got up at about 5:30, so it gave me a little time to get ready.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the beauty of having a baby, right? It forces you to get up early and get stuff done.
Yes.
Even when you don't want to.
Built-in alarm clock. Built-in alarm clock, exactly.
Well, I'm so excited to have you back on. Before you jumped on, I was rambling on about how amazing you were and that we had to have you back on. The last episode we had you back on, I had a horrible cold, and afterwards I was like, that was just crappy. We need to do this over.
Well, I hope you're feeling better.
Yes. So it's ironic because a couple of my kids have colds, and last night I was popping Dayquil, like, I am not getting sick this time. I am not getting sick. So
apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Water and vinegar is good too.
Yeah.
I do lemon and water sometimes in the morning before I have my coffee, just to flush my system out.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
A good idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do I do that? I do. Sometimes I do apple cider vinegar in the morning with water, but my thing is I do ionic minerals, and they like these ionic minerals I use. They have like 2,000% B12 vitamins too. So I'm like awake, but like in a way that coffee doesn't do. It's like more of a body awake than coffee. I feel like is more of a body awake. This is more of like a mind awake. And good morning, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Where do you get that stuff? Where do you get ionic water?
I order it online. I can get you the link if you're interested.
Yeah, I would definitely like to look it up and check it out.
Yes. There is just no okay.
Still there?
It was fine. There was. And good morning to Justin. Hello. I had people joining us in California and Arizona. I'm impressed you guys are up so early on a Sunday. That is really impressive.
So bright. Okay, so let's dive right in. Spilled Milk Sundays, where parenting gets real. You are the founder of Project Potential. You're a certified personal trainer. You are a licensed professional counselor. I have this down packed already.
Yeah, seriously.
And
you got to introduce me every.
And we're live again. I don't know why this always happens to me. Every time I go live, the internet drops. So I'm just going to wait for Sara to hop back on. This is Spilled Milk Sundays, where technology gets crazy. This is Spilled Milk Sundays, where parenting gets real. So I guess it's part of parenting. I had to go to every kid and be like, is your Wi-Fi off? Is your Wi-Fi off? Because everybody has gadgets. So I'm just waiting for Sara to hop back on, and then we can get started. And we had just kicked off the first episode. I mean, not the first. We had just kicked off the episode 2. So deep breath. Deep breath. Let me have my coffee. So we're going to wait for Sara to jump back on and invite her in. And you can't see it, but my kids are acting a fool behind the camera. Of course. I'm home. And, oh, there is the live. I'm going to share it. And hopefully Sara will jump on. Let me turn off the sound. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Hey!
Sorry, I moved locations just to make sure it wasn't my connectivity, but who knows?
I think it could have been mine, because Mike, I had to go to each kid and be like, turn off your Wi-Fi. Turn it off. Because I have 3
Can't
kids
wait
and they all
till
have
those days.
gadgets. So, okay, what we were saying before, this is where parenting gets real. Let's talk about your real parenting moment for the week.
Okay, my real parenting moment for the week. Okay, this is a weird one because I don't know that this is an experience that a lot of parents have had, but I wanted to get my baby into child modeling because a lot of people were saying,
oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
I
so
saw that. Okay.
I'm going to tell you that there was a full day that was dedicated to weird momager chores, which I feel like could also be extended to just like anything. Like if your kid plays in a soccer league or your kid is, I don't know, does like ballet, like it becomes all about that. So I had to drive him to San Francisco. It's so funny because he's 8 months old, but he has the responsibilities now of like a 12-year-old. I had to drive him to San Francisco. We had this modeling interview and they like loved him. So then the next day I had to go get this Coogan account, which like protects his funds until he's 18, like a specific law in California. Then I had to get him a work permit. He has to have a work permit that's renewed every 6 months because of child labor laws.
Oh my God, for a baby.
Yes, for a baby. So just like I'm sure any other mom who has a baby my kid's age, if you have something that you're doing specifically, let's say in the way of like going to doctor's appointments, it becomes all about them, but it's happening for me really soon. Like it's not even like he's, 5 and he's going to tap dancing classes. It's like now he's doing baby modeling. So we'll see how that turns out.
Well, first, congratulations.
Thank you.
Because a lot of when they have babies, I know I went through it. We all think that our kids are gorgeous and they should be models.
It's true. And maybe that's why I waited this long too, because I was like, well, am I lying to myself?
But obviously they loved him, which is fantastic. Venus is going to be a star.
He is, probably.
And the whole Coogan account, I actually have one for my oldest son because he's done a little bit of acting. So it's just the norm. There's a ton of paperwork you're going to have to keep up with. It's just a whole other job that you're going to have to
exactly to add on top of cooking and cleaning and laundry and all the things that a mom would expect to do.
Right? Yeah. Now you have to worry about headshots.
Exactly. That's next on the list.
Okay, so hot topics. The royal wedding. So the royal wedding was yesterday at 6 a.m. Did you get a chance to watch it? I know you said that for your time, it would have been like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something.
Exactly. I did tune into some stuff on YouTube, but I did not watch it live. And then I had stuff going on all day, so I missed it. But I love tuning back in to like watch the fashion and just, I mean, it's it's such a like historical day, right? So it's cool to like
Yep.
go back on and catch everything. But honestly, I haven't been that in tune with everything that's happening. Like I feel like this marriage was like really quick, right? Didn't they just start getting seen in public back in like September or October?
Yeah, and I think they were seeing each other for like 6 or 7 months before they went public. Like they were
Yeah. And
secretly
I
meeting up or
saw and I saw a funny meme about how his ex Chelsea was at the wedding and looked really salty.
yeah, I saw that last night. I'm like, why the heck would they invite his ex? That's crazy. Can you imagine your husband's ex coming to your wedding
No,
and showing up? And I think
no.
she was wearing like a dark color too. She was wearing like dark navy blue or black or something like that. So everybody
She
was
was in
making fun of her.
mourning. She was in mourning.
But
I
I
told my
heard that
husband that
she. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I told my husband that no one could come to our wedding that had seen him naked except for his family.
Well, that should be the rule, right? That should be the rule. But I heard that he wanted to marry her, and she didn't want to become part of the royal family because there's all this protocol and
Mm-hmm.
stuff you have to like make sure
Right.
you're following.
Right.
Um, missed out on becoming the princess. So it's funny that she's sitting there watching another woman become, well, a duchess, not a princess, but
Right. Right.
that is hilarious that she showed up. So
Confidence.
what did you think of the whole new setup? So it wasn't a traditional wedding. It was well, not a traditional royal wedding. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as stoofy, stoofy, as I would call it, as a royal
Yeah.
wedding would be. What did you think of?
Um, and the other thing that I think is interesting too is like, okay, so it's her second wedding. So I think it was cool that she still got aspects of her because in my experience, my friends, sometimes when they're getting married the second time, they're like, let's not do this as formally as I did before. Or like, you put so much energy into it one time that you're like, do I really want to put that much energy into it again? So I think it was
Yeah,
awesome that it got to be exactly what she want, not exactly, but like what she wanted it to be, that it had aspects of her, that it was very much like them and their story.
yeah. So she, for anybody viewing this right now or catching the replay, so you have to go watch the YouTube video. So she brought in, other than the fact that her dress was very simple. Did you see
Mm-hmm.
that? It wasn't like, because Princess Di's dress was like full of like rhinestones and stuff, right?
Well, that was the 80s,
Megan's,
right?
what?
Well, that was the 80s. That was the 80s.
Right? Everything was big in the 80s. But her dress was very simple. There was some light lace. I mean, obviously you couldn't see the embroidery because, we're far away from a
Mm-hmm.
camera view, but it looked very simple. And then the after party dress was simple too. It was like, I don't think it was a Vera Wang. It was somebody else's. Anyway, whatever. But it was also very simple. Um, but Stella McCartney. It
Yeah,
was a
Stella
Stella McCartney
McCartney.
dress. Yeah. Uh, and the wedding itself had a gospel choir. It had an American preacher. There was a celloist. It was a young African American man. I think it was a celloist, or I don't know, one of the string instruments.
Yeah,
He was playing. It was just different,
yeah.
and she infused the whole American, quote unquote, American thing into it, which I thought was fantastic, and it made me fall in love with them even more.
Yeah. I wonder if one of the things about her dress choices, because I heard she was getting flack about their engagement party. I think it was an engagement party or the announcement that dress that she had worn was a little more risque per royal terminology. And
Oh,
so I wonder if that's why she went completely like demure, right?
oh, oh, that could be. And she is considered the American actress, right? Like you have an
Mm-hmm.
American actress coming into the royal family. And so I wonder if she's going to keep on pushing the limits while she's in the
Yeah.
family. If she did
Yeah.
that with the reception, obviously with the wedding, she infused a little bit of her culture into it. I wonder if she's going to continue to push the limits that way. I guess we'll have to
How much,
watch and see.
but how much is like pushing the limits and then how much is like just being yourself, right? I mean, at some point there's this idea that there's a mold that the royal family has to fit. And so at some point, can you be yourself to live a life of, I don't want to say like comfort, but like that it doesn't feel so imposed on you in some way.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why the other woman didn't want to become a royal, because there isn't the level of comfort isn't very high.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you have to follow protocol and rules. But if she's already pushed the envelope a little bit, and Harry's a young guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
a millennial.
Right.
So of course he's going to push the limit a little bit. And they're the ones that are going to be running the monarchy
Mm-hmm.
after grandma dies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess they have to things up a little bit and make it a little bit more modern. Oh, William, sorry. My husband's like talking to me like, no, that's William. William's gonna be king.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a royal wedding. Make sure you guys check it out on YouTube. Tell us what you think. So let's start talking about your business, Project Potential. And you have been running this business for, I think, as long as you've been a mom, right? Am I wrong about that?
Even longer. I started Project Potential officially when I moved out here about, it's almost 3 years.
Oh, so it's way longer. I
Yeah.
thought that you had just last year. Oh my God. So 3 years.
But I've slowly been incorporating new aspects into it, and the website didn't get finished until last year. So there were a lot of other things that were being done prior to it actually launching on the website.
So why don't you tell our viewers and our moms what Project Potential is real quick?
Sure. So Project Potential is this umbrella where we're focusing on 3 aspects of, it focuses on health, but the 3 aspects are, we call grow, nourish, flex. So grow is about mindset, nourish is about nutrition, and flex is about physical activity. And with those things were of interest to me in particular because my background is in mental health counseling, and I'm also a personal trainer. And I've noticed with those 2 areas that if you're not fueling your body with what it needs, then both of them kind of fall apart. So I wanted to help people have long-term success by incorporating all 3 of those areas. And that's why I consider myself to be like a holistic consultant.
That's awesome. So where did you get the concepts, grow, nourish, flex? Was it part of what you were already doing prior to starting your company, or did you sit down and do some research and think, okay, these are the core areas I wanted to focus on?
So those were things that I in my life was already doing and practicing with others. They really just needed a name. And so when I was talking to my web designer, that was something that I came up with, and I said it like in one sentence, and then that was a thing. That was what we wanted to do from then on. And good morning to Bev and Michelle who are joining us.
Hi,
thanks for catching us live. So that was where things went, and so it's kind of been growing since then, since we started all of that there are different areas to kind of channel those things.
That's awesome. So so I was looking on your website, which is projectpotential.co. If you're listening and you want to check it out,
I'll add them.
Website, you talk about mastering the science of the mind-body connection. So of course the word science jumped out at me because I love science. I want to know what you mean by this. What do you mean by mastering the connection between the science between the mind and body connection?
Okay, so part of that is that being my background's in counseling is like this idea about empirical research. Like I don't just throw any interventions at my clients that haven't been proven in some way. I want to use things that have been backed by science to give people outcomes based on case studies. And the interesting part about Project Potential is that we kind of do things on a one-on-one case basis. And I think it's given us some of the groundwork for what we're doing now with new clients, because when something has worked for previous clients, granted, everyone has their own story and everyone has different challenges or strengths in their bodies. So it's been a really interesting thing to be able to say, well, you know, we have something we can draw on that might be similar that someone else has gone through, like being able to, for example, work with people who are pregnant, are perimenopausal, are diabetic, are have fibromyalgia. Like these are all things that we've been able to work with and help people find success so that their bodies can heal themselves, so that they can feel the very best in their bodies, because really this is the only home that we get. So based on how we're living in it, that's how we experience the world.
And do you think that's what sets you apart from other entrepreneurs or women who are doing something similar to you, that you base it on real science case studies?
I'd like to think so. I mean, I don't always put science in front of people if that's not of interest to them, you know. But if people want to know, why is this backed, what's behind this, then I have something that I can provide for them. And I'm not the one that does the research unless it's like a case by case basis. Like I'm not sitting there, you know, looking at the mean, the median, and like what's the outliers of the curve. I'm giving them things that have already been proven by, like, I don't have to be everything, right? I can just use what others have done and has been proven.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love that you do that. So can you offer our moms a tip on, so you talk about transformation on your website also. And a lot of your live videos, you know, the content that you put out on social media has to do a lot with transformation. You want moms to really leap into it, to take a risk, you know, to try to improve their lives. So can you offer moms a tip on a way they can kickstart transformation?
Yes, I have a really good one. So one of the things that I think we really struggle with is we are impatient as people. When we want to see change, we want to see it now. And so one of the things that we tend to do, I think of this analogy of like, if we're juggling balls, if I am your trainer and you're juggling balls and I keep throwing more at you, you're going to drop all of them. So the goal is to just incorporate one of those balls at a time. So if you're taking on something new, choose one thing and practice doing that for the week, and then choose another thing the next week and practice that for a week. And that's one of the things that we offer with the newsletters with Project Potential, is we give people different ideas each month about the Grow, Nourish, Flex, so that they're able to incorporate things that they actually like in their life. Because if you don't love it, it's not going to become a habit. Or if you're doing too much of it at once, you're not going to be able to keep up with it. So my thing is one thing at a time.
I love that. And you know, that's an awesome tip, because a lot of people, I know I've done it. Like you start going, for example, if you start going to the gym, you got a gym membership, you'll go like every day for a week and then you stop because you just like, you burn yourself out quickly, and then the mental support and the motivation is not there after a week because you're just tired. Your body's tired and you're like, oh, I'll go tomorrow, and it just doesn't happen. So pacing yourself makes a
And with that, I mean, if you start going to the gym, start talking to people there, because once you build relationships, like we were talking about earlier, what was that, Friday, about building community. If you start to build relationships, you have now built-in partners of accountability.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. And bring a mom with you, bring a friend with you.
Exactly.
Or even if you're working out outside, right? Just bring a friend.
Yeah. And hi to Kristen, who's joining us.
Hi, Kristen. So if a mom wanted to get in touch with you, or a dad, how can they do that?
So they can look up projectpotential.co, and I'll actually put in the comments our Facebook group. We have a free Facebook group that's always posting new recipes, new workouts, science on empirically researched products that I believe in, like what I was telling you earlier about my ionic minerals. So people can, it's a free group, you can join us, and we're kind of like a supportive community there. There's a little over 300 members now in that group, and it's a lot of fun. I love seeing what everyone has to contribute, whether it's a small win, what we call like a non-scale victory, right? Like I'm getting better sleep, or I went hiking and I wasn't totally winded, or I didn't have to use my inhaler. These are like small things that people will post in our group. So it's really awesome to see.
That's great. That's great. So I want to thank you so much for being our last guest. Oh, we have a question from Kristen. Do you have any tips on how to get my 2-year-old to sleep in his bed?
It's funny because I'm sitting right next to my crib right now, and I swear by this thing. Somebody gave this to me at my baby shower, and we just ordered the next size. I don't know how big your 2-year-old is, but the bigger size I think goes up to, I don't know. This is called a Baby Merlin's Magic Sleep Suit. I swear by this thing. We transitioned him to crib sleeping when he was 2.5 months. And what it does when they're that young is that it helps them with they're developing the central nervous system at that point. So that's why they have that Moro reflex where they're waking themselves up. So the weight of this helps with that. But consistency is huge with anything. I think the hard part, Kristen, is you probably want to just like stop doing it because it's, I mean, even having to have this little, what they call in psychology, an extinction burst, which is like the behavior will get worse before it gets better. Does he get hot in it? Great question. We actually just put him in either just a diaper or just like a simple onesie, because that is one of the things that is a concern is like if he gets too warm. So we definitely check the temperature. But yeah, that's having to deal with like the extinction burst. So it's going to get worse before it gets better, meaning he's going to cry because he's used to it. I just had this conversation with a mom recently about how her baby's just started walking. And if you don't put the gates up immediately, the baby will kind of do this like, well, I was able to go in that room yesterday, but I'm not today. It's just like us if we're out at a club. Like, I was in VIP last week. Why can't I go past the red rope now?
That's so true, right? And then they start climbing and thinking that they could go in the room. It's just they have to get over the gate, you know?
Yeah. So
That's
he's
awesome.
in a toddler bed. Do I think it's too early? I have no idea. I only have an 8-month-old. What do you think, Priya?
For a toddler bed for a 2-year-old, so I did a lot of co-sleeping with my kids. They had their own bed. So I think at 3 years old is when I got a toddler bed. I converted the crib into a toddler bed for my kids. And they would start sleeping in there and they would end up in my bed afterwards. And I did co-sleeping. And I know not a lot of moms agree with that, but I did co-sleeping for my own sanity. You know, my husband and I juggled beds. He would be in the guest room and I would be in the main bed with the kids. It's just how we did it, and it worked for us. So it's really up to the mom, you know, whatever works best for you and your baby. But definitely check with your doctor before you make a decision. You know, find out what they think.
We still co-sleep
All right.
on
Well,
vacation. That's the only way he'll sleep.
Right. Right. So I want to thank you so much for being our final, what I was saying before, our final guest of the season. You are amazing. I hope every mom watching this catches you on projectpotential.co or finds you on social media. Reach out to her. She has a plethora of knowledge. And as you can see from her breakdown of the scientific terms, she is very well versed in what she's talking about. So make sure you reach out to Sara. Find us on MomsPumpHere.com. Sara also does vlogs for us, so you'll see them periodically pop up. Make sure you support her, watch her video, like her video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also Sara's. You can find her in all three of those, and Snapchat. She's also on Snapchat, so you can also find her there. So you guys have a fantastic day. We'll let you know what's going on with season 2 over the summer. But this has been a fantastic way of us featuring mompreneurs and talking about parenting and managing life as a parent. So all right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.